Good.
Hi, so I'm over here at a neighbor's house. They had a little leak going on. So if you look up top, they just put on a little patch of black tape there to try to slow down the leak, especially because it was near some an electrical outlet. They weren't 100% sure which circuit breaker turned it off. So we're here now. I'm going to try to make a repair using a piece of PEX pipe. I'm going to take it off of the T. There's a shark bite T that's currently in there. We're going to cut this section out and replace it with a piece of PEX and a new half-inch coupler. Now, as you can notice, here we have electrical outlet that's fairly close to the source of the water, so we want to make sure that the power shut off. So we plugged in a device that we knew that was working, and you notice now, no power coming. So now I'm ready to go forward and make the necessary repairs. Okay, so now the tools that I believe we're going to need for the job. So I have my half-inch PEX pipe. I have my pipe cutter, my PEX pipe cutter, so I can get a nice clean joint. I also am going to have to use a removal tool for my shark bite bits. This is a half-inch one. I do have to make a cut on my copper pipe, so I have my copper pipe cutter. I have my half-inch coupler that I'm going to use. So this one's actually, the brand name is called Shark Bite, but there's many different varieties that are out there. I have my measuring tape so I can measure what length of pipe I'm going to need. I have a little bit of emery cloth, so I'll probably clean off the copper lightly before I put it into the new coupler. And of course I want my pencil to be able to mark on the pipe the length that I need. Okay, so these are the different items that I'm going to be using. Alright, so now we want to make sure we have our water supply is cut off. So this one had a ball valve, so an inline ball valve. It's in the off position right now. We've already turned on the taps upstairs to drain off as much water and water pressure as we can, but there's still going to be a little bit of water in this line. But you'll also notice from this one, the supply line goes out to T's, goes to one part of the house. It also comes down into the water heater. So we don't want any pressure from the water heater traveling backwards, so we've also turned this valve to the off position. Okay, so at this point, we're now getting ready to try to remove the existing plumbing. Okay, so I have my PEX pipe, my connector. This is what I can take the shark bite and try to remove it with. Now we're getting ready to take the main line off up top. So I need to take my little tool here, and this is how it's easier to take your connectors apart. You can struggle without this. And also I have a pan underneath to collect some major amounts of water, but I'm also going to try to collect a little bit in this when I first pop it apart. Notice I also get my sleeves rolled up because I'm anticipating there's going to be a little bit of water coming. Hopefully not a large quantity. Okay, so now I'm going to try to take the pipe off. And so we're going to go up top with my little device. Now when you do this, this is awkward. What you actually have to do is you have to squeeze in to try to get it to release. Usually you take the pipe and pull it towards you a little bit first and then away to try to get it to release. And these can be really difficult. Alright, these joints can be tough. And it's one of those things that takes a lot of patience. So when you're trying to release this, you got to make sure you can feel it kind of releasing in, a slight little push in. I think that'd be an easier tool to have, but there, felt it release. Now if I can just hold it in that position and pull the pipe out. Now, the container over top. can hear the water coming out of my other line back this direction. Push it into the pan below. Alright. I'm just going to let that slowly drip out. Alright, so the next step, I'm going to have to move over to the other side. And I'm going to have to use my cutter. I'm going to cut off the copper pipe beyond where the joint looks bad, and then we'll get the new piece of PEX pipe in place. Alright, so at this point of the pipe, this is a fairly clean location here. So what I'm getting ready to do next is we're just going to slowly lower this down. So it has both rollers in contact in the bottom, and hopefully this is going to fit in place. So we're just going to slowly cycle it around. I usually do 2 loops, and then I give it about 1/8 of a turn. Okay, so that's the end of that pipe. Alright, we keep looking up here. So now I'm at the point that I need to clean off the 1/2-inch copper pipe that's going to go into the new fitting. Okay, so I have to go get my emery cloth in order to give that a clean. Alright, so I brought with me my measuring tape. I want to look at my coupler again to make sure it helps me to get the right length. And a little piece of emery cloth. So it comes in a nice little package. All I'm going to do is just take and rip off a little piece to use. And I'm just going to clean this section. So this one actually has a little bit of spray foam on it. So I want to get that out of the place. I want to make sure that's perfectly clean. If it was a new piece of pipe, all I do is use a piece of cloth on it, just to kind of clean it off a little bit. We just want to make sure that joint's good and clean. My cut was good and clean. No debris in there. So now, my coupling, when it goes in about 3/4 of an inch from the ends. So this is going to go into about here. And now I want to get a little measurement for the length of pipe I need. This has some flexibility, so I can move it back and forth a couple of inches, so it's not a critical zone for this length. So with this on, this going into about here. So I'm looking at, for me, I can push it that way a little farther, give me a straighter line. So I'm going to cut it at 14 inches. So the next step is to go get my pipe at 14 inches. Okay, so next we're ready to cut a piece of pipe so 14 inches long. And as I said before, this one has some flexibility, so I don't need to be the exact 14. It has some movement side to side. So I'm going to get as close as possible. So there's 14 at the end of my thumb. Just going to put a light little pencil mark on it. I'm going to take my pipe cutters, make sure it's straight on the pipe, and one little snap through. Nice clean cut. Okay, so now we're ready to put it back together. So one thing I like to do first is I like to use my thumb as kind of a guide. Some people, you could also use a little mark. So if this is supposed to go in about 3/4 of an inch, you want to make sure the pipe has actually gone on to be fully set. So I'm going to use my thumb on here, we're going to get this set, and it's a matter of pushing it in place and just kind of giving a little turn. So this went in a good solid 3/4, it's nice and tight. I know that joint is good. Okay, I want to do the same thing on my existing tee that's over here, and I'd rather put it onto this first than before my copper. So there's a little insert piece that I want to make sure gets worked into place. Once again, I'm going to set my thumb back about 3/4 of an inch to make sure this gets right into place. There we go, it went in all the way. So I know that joint's good. Okay, so that's a pretty important thing to try to make sure you do. So now I'm ready with my final joint. So I'm going up, I get my 3/4 copper, I'm going to put my thumb off, like I said, about 3/4 of an inch, or put a little black mark on there, slide it in place, locked in place. Now just to double check it, you shouldn't be able to pull it out easily, any of the joints. Tight, tight. So we're ready to go and turn our water off upstairs. So we have taps on, we're going to close our taps off. We're going to repressurize the line. Then we're going to open up the valve going into the hot water heater. Then we'll check, and I'm pretty confident there's no leaks, but I'll stay around for a bit just to make sure. Alright, so now we're ready to turn on our main supply line. That should pressurize it up top. We're going to keep a close eye on things as we get the water flowing. So slowly release it. Alright, so I don't see any water yet, any drips yet, so it's a good sign so far. We don't want to pressurize it all at once. Alright, now everything's fully pressurized. Just going to reach in with my hand. I have no moisture on that joint. And I have no moisture in that joint. So all the joints seem to be good. No moisture. Doesn't hurt when you're doing that also to take a dry cloth and to wipe that off first and then go and then kind of recheck. I just kind of wiped it with my hand. So now I'm going to take and open up the supply coming into the hot water heater. Okay, so up is open. So it looks like all the repairs are good. Now we're ready to turn on the outlet for the sump pump. And we'll just double check that everything's looking good upstairs. And I'll probably come back and check or make sure the homeowner checks things out in the next 15 to 20 minutes if something doesn't reappear. But I'm 99.95% confident we're good. You can see up here it's running now. Is it running? Running? Mm-hmm. Okay, so these are the different items that I'm going to be using. You can pause it. So now, to get in there safely, I use my step ladder. Yeah, but it's not going to work. See, the darn thing is you're supposed to work off the front side of it. Reach it with it, step ladder. Yeah, I can. Okay, so you can shut her down.